public hearing on the proposed law by the House of Representatives to regulate non-governmental organizations insists the bill is of no use. They say it is non-governmental for a reason. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, says it will appeal against the ruling that held that the agency lacked powers to investigate or prosecute serving judicial officials. The question is the EFCC now gagged? And thanks for joining in, everyone. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbaloye in Lagos. Well, the non-governmental organizations and the civil society organizations say the NGO bill, well, should be killed. Well, first and foremost, we'll come to that. But President Muhammadu Buhari is appealing to the international community to support Nigeria's commitment to reducing the negative effects of climate change. President Buhari said Nigeria recognizes that ensuring sustainable funding is a major constraint in efforts to implement a nationally determined contribution. He added that to respond effectively to climate change mitigation and adaptation challenges, critical mass of financial resources beyond what the country can provide from natural resources will be required. And I have the special advisor to President Buhari on media and publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina. He joins me now from Paris to give us an insight on this matter and what Nigeria as a country is asking the international community on the issue of climate change. Mr. Adesina, many thanks for joining us on Politics Today tonight. Tell us, what is President Buhari, what did he tell the international community when the issue of how to finance the fight of climate change came up?
Well, the theme of the summit itself is generating finance to fight climate change. So the president told the audience that all the implications of climate change are evident in Nigeria. Erratic rainfall, low yield for agriculture, erosion, desertification, and all sorts. He said all these are evident in Nigeria, and therefore Nigeria has no option than to join the fight against climate change. And you know that since 2 years ago in France, COP21, our president had been in the vanguard of that in Africa. COP21 in Paris 2 years ago, then Marrakesh in Morocco last year, he was there, and he has been advocating for a recharge of the Lake Chad, because the shrinking of the Lake Chad to less than a quarter of its size has implications, both economic and security, for Nigeria and the Lake Chad basin countries. You know, because that water has receded, they can't farm, they can't fish, so youths are easily lured into insurgency, and most of them get attracted to illegal migration. They die in the Sahara Desert, they die in the Mediterranean. So Nigeria stands a lot to gain if it supports the fight against climate change.
So in essence, what is the president of Nigeria requiring from the international community to fight this? Because from the statement presented, from the presidency today, did say that the president said we cannot implement a nationally determined contribution without adequate financial, technical, and capacity building support from the developed countries. The president seems to be telling the world that we do not have what it takes to fight climate change right now. We need your support, isn't it?
Yes, that's what he said, and he asked for 3 specific things. Number 1, finance. To recharge Lake Chad will mean diverting water from the Congo Basin and some other rivers in Africa. It takes a lot of money, which all the African countries in the Lake Chad Basin cannot afford. The West will have to support. Then he asked for technical support. You know that fighting climate change requires technology, which Nigeria does not have. So it looks towards the West for that technological support. And then he talked about capacity building. The people that are going to spearhead that fight need to have their capacities built. And so Nigeria is looking towards the West for those three things: finance, technical support, and capacity building.
How much, is there any news about what Nigeria may be getting and how much will Nigeria be getting?
You know, this summit is organized by the United Nations, the World Bank, some international NGOs like Bloomberg, and then hosted by Emmanuel Macron, the president of France. So the World Bank is giving about $4.5 billion to 150 countries of the world to fight climate change. So Nigeria will have, I'm sure, a tidy slice of that.
So it's interesting to know, does Nigeria have a plan on how to use this money to fight climate change?
Definitely, because Nigeria has been in the vanguard of the fight against climate change for 3 years now. So about 3 years since President Muhammadu Buhari came. And he also told the audience that the war has been cascaded down into ministries, departments, agencies, into state governments, local governments. So for Nigeria, it is a commitment. You know that Nigeria has signed an agreement. The Paris Agreement of 2 years ago has been assented to by the president. And the target is that we cut carbon emissions by 20% by the year 2020. And by the year 2030, we'll cut it by 40%. And the president added that if we get the finance we require, we can even cut carbon emissions by 45% by the year 2030.
Yeah, one major issue that will be on the lips of everyone, the World Bank president did come out to say, at some point, the World Bank will not support any nation on the refining of oil, the upstream or downstream, I can't remember vividly now, that there won't be financing for that. Isn't it a bad news for Nigeria in this sense?
Very, very bad news for Nigeria, like you said. But then Nigeria itself is getting ready for that eventuality. One thing this administration recognizes and has always pointed out is that oil will not continue to be in such heavy demand in the world as it is now, because the world will be looking for cleaner energy. Cleaner energy. That's why Nigeria is also going into green bond and all the rest now. So Nigeria has got to be ready for that time when oil will no longer be in demand because the world will need cleaner energy.
Mr. Additional, the Buhari presidency had flagged off the Ogoni cleanup, but people in that area will tell you that nothing has happened ever since then. Did the president go with any agenda on how to practically implement the Ogoni cleanup agenda? And is there any news on when exactly the ground will be hit?
Well, there is a Minister of State for Environment. He is the one that can respond to that question. And that Minister of State for Environment is in this summit. I'm sure when he gets back, if you put that question to him, he can give you all the information you need.
No, but speaking for the president, we should be able to know Ogoni cleanup is a major environmental issue. And when the world is talking about climate change, that perhaps, I think, in my own thinking, should come first. Is that on the agenda to this Paris conference?
No, it didn't come up here at all. If you look at the full text of the president's statement to the summit, Ogoni cleanup didn't come up. But that does not mean that it is not on the front burners for the government. But like I said earlier, the minister in charge of environment will have more information on that.
Let me allow you to go, Mr. Additional. It seems you're losing your voice, but get some honey. That's an advice you won't pay for. Get honey, get some hot water, and get some rest. Thank you so much, President Spokesperson Femi Additional. Thank you for your time on the program today.